Hello everyone, welcome to the course of Programming Fundamentals with Python. This is our week number 8. In this week, I will talk about two very important statements that are the break statement and continue statement. Normally we use them inside the loops. It could be while loop or it could be for loops. Now what is loop? You know from week number 7 that it is actually a repetition or you can say iteration. If you want to execute a statement or a block of statements more than once, then instead of writing that statement again and again, a better approach is to use a loop and then specify a condition. Based on that condition, the statement or group of statements will be executed. In Python, we have two different types of loops available. One is the while loop, while the second one is for loop. And if you remember, recap the last week lecture, we studied that the while loop is actually a condition controlled loop, while the count control loop, actually the for loop is a count control loop. So you have two types of loop: the condition control, which is the while, and the count control, which is the for loop. In while loop, we studied that we actually execute the statement or group of statements as long as the condition is true. While in for loop, we actually execute a statement or a group of statements for a specific number of times. It doesn't mean that you cannot use one type of loop to solve a problem that belongs to the other category. Sometimes you can solve a specific problem by using any of the available loop. But programmers prefer to use the for loop as it is more concise, it is more clear, and the things are combined in a single line. Okay, now the objective for this lecture is that at the end of this lecture you will be able to understand how and why the break and continue statements are used inside the body of the loop. Similarly, this will enable you to write simple programs that will demonstrate the use of continue statement as well as the break statement inside the loops. Normally, we will be focusing on the use of the for loop, but you can use these statements inside the while loop as well. Okay guys, let us start with the break loop statement. Python language allows the programmers to decide whether they want to break out of a loop early or not. Even you can control the execution of the loop with the help of a break statement. What does it mean? Actually, for example, if you are using a for loop, the statement or group of statement will be executed for a specific amount of time. Let's suppose the variable has initial value of 0 while the final value is 10. So the loop will be executed 10 times. But in some situations, we would like to stop the execution of the statement or group of statements before reaching to the final value. For example, you want to stop the execution after 5 iterations. Then that is possible with the help of break statement. Okay, so inside your program, when the break statement is encountered, the execution control immediately jumps to the first instruction following the loop. Mean you can terminate the loop with the help of a break statement, and you can transfer the control to the next statement of the loop following the loop with the help of the break statement. So actually this statement allows a developer or a programmer to alter the normal cycle of the loop, but based on some criteria which may not be predictable in advance. For example, it may be based on some user input. For example, if you write a program that would ask the user to press a key on the keyboard. So you have written a condition that continue asks the user for providing a value or pressing a key as long as the user doesn't press the enter key. Once the user press the enter key, then the program will break there with the help of a break statement. Or a simple example from general life could be like this. You are a teacher and you want one of your student to do sit stand 10 times, but then after 5 times, when he or she completed 5 times the sit stand, you instruct the student, okay, stop there. Now initially you instruct the students to do the exercise for 10 times, but after completion of the 5th iteration you instruct the student to stop there. What is this? This is actually a break statement. So you can control the execution of the loop with the help of the break statement, or you can say that you can actually terminate the loop with the help of the break statement. So the break statement, when executed, will terminate the current loop and will jump to the first line after the loop, or next instruction after the loop. Actually, it will provide you an opportunity to exit out of a loop when an external condition is triggered. You will put the break statement within the block of code under your loop statement, or you can say that you have to put the break statement inside the body of the loop. You see here the break statement appears inside the body of the loop. It could be for loop, it could be while loop. So if you see at the flow chart here, typically a guard statement, or you can say an if statement, is placed on the break. You see the diamond represent that we are checking a condition, and the condition is checked with the help of if statement and boolean expressions. So how we can interpret this flow chart? Let us see. We start the program. If we have instruction before the for loop, then execute those instructions. Then we have to check the condition inside the for loop, whether we have reached to the end of the item, whether the last item is reached. If no, you have to execute the statement inside the body of the loop. So execute the statement and then check the condition again. If it is a break there, then what you need to do, stop the execution. Do not go back to check the condition in the loop statement. Just break here and go out of the loop. Move to the next instruction that is followed by the loop, or if there is no next instruction, then terminate the program. However, if there is no break statement inside the loop body, then proceed to the normal execution and check the condition again, and it can be seen with the line having a back arrow. After execution of the statement, if you do not have any break statement, or if the condition does not mention in the break statement doesn't match, then go forward, execute, check the condition again, and execute the body of the loop again. So this loop will continue unless this last item is reached, or it could be terminated if the condition specified in the break statement becomes true. Now let us see an example. Okay, let me tell you, if you are a new user, or if you are a new viewer, actually for this course I am following two different streamlines. We have two different playlists available on the YouTube website. On the first playlist you will see videos recording that will focusing on the theoretical aspect, while on the second second playlist, you will see a practical implementation of the concepts that we have learned. For example, this is week number 7, so the theoretical part will be published under the playlist of Python programming theoretical, while the practical sessions of the same week will be published under the title Python programming practical. So if you want to learn practical implementation of the programs of this week, please go to the practical playlist. Okay, so here is our first example which will demonstrate the use of the break statement inside a for loop. Okay, first line, print the statement. How many times you want to print the statement? You are asking the user to provide a value, and then in the next line we are actually accepting a value from the user. Once the user inputs something from the keyboard, let's suppose 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, any number, then we are assigning that number with the help of this assignment operator to this number. We are using a variable with the name nom, and then we are actually saving or storing the input value provided by the user. Next is the for loop. For is the keyword, I is the variable that we are using inside the for loop, in is again keyword, range is a function which will specify the initial value of the for loop and the final value of the for loop. So here the initial value is 0 and the final value is 6. Means the loop will execute 6 times, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in its normal execution cycle. But inside the loop body, we are actually checking a condition with the help of if statement. If I is equal to number, then break and print the statement. I want to print it nom time. Nom is actually the variable, and if you want to access the value of that variable, you have to place the nom inside these brackets. So what's happening here? We are asking the user to provide a value, and the value is stored in the nom, and then we are comparing the current value of the loop variable I with the value provided by the user. So for example, the user has provided 3 in the input, so the 3 will be saved in the nom variable. Let us see. The initial value of I is 0. 0 is equal to nom. 0 is equal to 3. No, the condition is false. Then the break will not be applied. We will print this statement. I want to print it 3 times. So this statement will be executed on the screen. Next, move here. Increment the value of I by 1, which will be happen automatically inside the for loop. Now the value of I will become 1. So 1 is less than 6. Yes, condition is true. Come here. Compare the two values. I, which is 1, is equal to nom, which is 3. So 1 is equal to 3. No, again condition is false. So the break statement will not be applicable here. Again we have to print this statement. Go back, increment the value of I by 1. Now the value of I will become 2. Compare 2 with 6. 2 is less than 6. Yes, condition is true. We have to execute the body of the for loop. Come here, again check the condition. Now the value of I is 2. Compare 2 with the value of nom, which is 3. 2 is equal to 3. Again no. So this statement will not be executed. Come here and print this statement. Go back, increment the value of I by 1. Now the value of I is 3. 3 is less than 6. Yes, it is less than 6. Okay, go and execute the body of the for loop. Come here. Check the condition. The value of I is 3. The value of nom is 3. So 3 is equal to 3. Yes, now the condition is true. You have to break. If this condition is true, apply this, execute this statement, which is break. Break here and do not go backward. Stop the loop here. So the execution of this loop will stop after the value of I reach to 3. So here you can see, if we do not apply this break condition and this if condition, the loop will execute this statement how much time? 6 times, starting from 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5. But here we want to stop the execution once the num become 3, or once the I variable become 3. So if this condition meet, the statement will break here, and the control will be transferred to the next statement, which is followed by the for loop. So when you run this program and enter any value, then the value in the loop should be printed out unless the value become equal to the nom provided by the user. Let us see another example. This is a bit simplest example, but here we are dealing with the string. So this is another way, by the way, using which you can use the for loop. Here for is the keyword, value, VAL is stand for value, is actually a loop variable, in is a keyword, and string is any string. You can provide any string here. In my case, I am providing the string word. Let us see. If value is equal to I, then break. Otherwise, print the value. Okay, let us see. The initial value for this val is s. String will be read character by character. So s will be assigned to this variable. Now s is compared with I. Is s is equal to I? No. S is not equal to I. So the condition here is false, which means we do not, the break will not be applied. And then we have to come to the print statement. So the value, the current value of val, which is s, will be printed on the screen. As we are dealing with the loop, go back and now increment the value of val by 1. Now it will store the t, or it will refer to the t character. Again, compare the value stored in val, which is t, with I. So t is equal to I? No. The condition is false, so the break will not be applied. And we have to move to the next statement, that is print val. It will print t on the screen. Go back and now assign the next character, that is r, to the val. Now the val store r. Now compare the value stored in val with I. R is equal to I? No. Again, the condition is false. So we have to move forward to the next statement and we will print the current value of val, which is r. Come back to the for loop, increment val by 1. Now val will contain I, the next character, which is I. Make the comparison, I is equal to I. Yes, now the condition is true. Once the condition becomes true, the break will be applied and hence the program will terminate, or the body of the for loop will not be executed further. You have to go outside the loop. Do we have any statement outside the for loop? No. So the program will terminate here. So the output of this program is str, because it will stop when the I match the value of the variable, which is the value of the variable which is represented by val. If you do not apply this condition, then it will print all the string, that is string. But because of the break statement, it will stop after reaching to the I character. So this was about the break statement. In a similar but different way, we have another statement that is commonly used inside the loops, is called the continue loop statement. As the name indicates, it actually passes the control to the next iteration without exiting the loop. So if you want to pass control to the next iteration of the loop without exiting the loop, you have to use the continue statement. Actually, the continue statement does not terminate the whole loop like the break. It does not terminate the whole loop. It only terminates the current iteration around the loop. Okay, so in the case of break, it actually stops the execution of the loop, or you can say terminates the execution of the loop. While in case of continue, it does not terminate the whole loop. It will only terminate the current iteration of the loop. This actually allows you to skip over part of a loop iteration for a particular value. Normally, in normal conditions, the loop will be executed for all the values, but you want to skip the execution of the loop for any specific value. Let's suppose the loop is going to be executed 5 times starting from 0 to 4, but you want the loop to not execute the body once the value become 3 or 2 or 1. Then in that case you have to specify, or you have to use the continue statement. So it actually gives you the option to skip over the part of a loop where an external condition is triggered, but to go on to complete the rest of the loop. A general example of the continue statement is like this. For example, you have students in the class and you are calling the names of the students one by one. So you are calling Ali, you are calling Bilal, you are calling, for example, Hasib, and then arrive a name which is very difficult for you to pronounce. For example, Alexandre. So you skip that name and then you continue calling rest of the name, Rohel, for example, Shakir, etc. So you continue to execute the loop in a normal way, but only for a specific value you skip that iteration of the loop. Thus the current iteration of the loop will be disrupted, but the program will return to the top of the loop. So the continue statement will be like the break statement. It will be within the block of the code under the loop statement, usually after a condition if. So if you see the flow chart of the continue loop statement, it's going to be like the same thing as we saw in the break case, but the difference is here. Okay, again we start the program to execute the statements before the for loop or while loop. Then the condition in the loop is checked. Is it the final value? No, it's not the final value. Okay, go and execute the statement inside the body of the for loop. So the statement will be executed once the condition is encountered. Then we have to check if there is a continue statement. Okay, yes, then do not go further, do not execute the rest of the statements inside the body. Skip the current iteration, but go back and check the condition again. Okay, so this will be like this. To see an example, okay, you can see here the continue statement is followed normally by an if statement. If statement can be used to determine when the continue statement should be executed. So as with the break statement, the continue statement can come anywhere within the body of the loop. This means that you can have some statements that will be executed for every value in the sequence, and some that are only executed when the continue statement is not run. So here's an example to make things clear. The first example is simple. It's like the previous case. We are declaring a variable. The name of the variable is norm, and then we are requesting the user to provide an input value. The value provided by the user must be between 0 and 9. So we are using the for variable, the for loop. Here the variable is I, and the range is 0 to 10. So the loop will be executed 10 times, but excluding 10, starting from 0. Now we are checking a condition. If the current value of the I is equal to the value provided by the user, which has been stored in the variable norm. If it is the case, then continue. Otherwise, if this condition is not true, print the value of I. So it will display the value of I for all the values between 0 and 9 except the value provided by the user. So if the user provides 3, then it will display 0, 1, 2, but not 3. And then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 will be displayed as usual. So in this program, the continue statement is executed only for the odd number. And the print statement is only run if the value of I is even. No, please ignore this statement. This is wrong. Focus on the program, because this is not for the even number. This is just it. In this case, it will display all the number except the number provided by the user, which is stored in norm. Okay, another example which is related with the string, and this is the same example we have saw in the break statement, but here the output is going to be different. Okay, what's going here? Again, the for loop. I will not explain it again. So let us see. If the value stored in val is equal to I, then continue. Okay, let us see. The initial value is s. Compare s with I. Is it true? No. So what will happen? It will print the s. Go back. Increment val. Now the val will refer to t. Compare t with I. T is equal to I. No. Again, condition is false. So print t. Go back. Increment the value of val by 1. Now the val will contain r. Compare r with I. True? No. It's false. Okay. Print r as well. Go back. Increment the value of val by 1. Now the val will contain I. Compare I with I. I is equal to I. Yes, the condition is true now. Continue. It means skip the current iteration. Do not print I. Go back. Increment val by 1. Now the val will contain n. Compare n with I, condition is true, no, it's false. Okay, print n, go back. And then G, compare G is equal to I, no, okay, print it. So it will print str but not I, and then n and G will be printed again. So this was about the break statement and continue statement and how we use them inside the for loop. In the practical session of this week, we will see the same examples, but in practical, in implementation. We will see the implementation of these examples in Python language. See you then. Goodbye.